Morning. Thank you for coming back for Will&Ski Sports Wave Week 2.
Thank you guys. Like Will said, we got a lot of stuff to get into. But first, before we begin, I got a quick shout out to Brett Cini. Scored his first career NHL goal against Winnipeg Jets last week. So big shout out, Brett.
Congrats to Brett. Just a nice little story you got there. How do you know Brett?
I actually went to school with him. I had a couple classes with him at Merrimack College in North Andover. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
It's pretty cool. Well, congrats to Brett. Let's go over our topics for today. We got Carmelo Anthony and his drama. If you didn't know, he's being released from the Houston Rockets. They're agreeing to part ways as soon as Melo's team of representatives find him a good place. Then we have the Chiefs and the Rams. Big game going on in L.A. Moved from Mexico City to L.A. We'll jump into that. And then we got the MLB award, specifically with a focus in on the Manager of the Year award. But let's jump in with Melo.
Yeah.
Right? They agree to part ways. We've been seeing this coming for a long time. Mm-hmm. He struggled over there in Houston. He struggled last year with Oakland. Oklahoma City, I'm sorry. What do you think? Where's he going? What's he doing?
I see this is the end of his career. He's not putting up the numbers he used to. It's no longer an ISO league. He's an ISO player. If you look at 2 years ago when he was with the Knicks, his final year with the Knicks, he averaged 22 and a half games.
I know. I know. 22 and a half a game, and he wasn't even on his game at the time.
No. So that's when he was the number one. Now he's taking a back seat. At Oklahoma City, he wasn't the number one. Houston, he's not the number one. He's not getting the same minutes. And I just don't see him going to another team after this. He isn't performing what he used to. And if you even look at the league itself, it's a younger league than it was 10 years ago. Look at all the one-and-dones that are coming out. Everybody's playing to lose. Like, look at everybody losing for Zion.
Yeah.
It's a young league. I don't see him signing again after this.
I'd be honest. Like, he's definitely struggling right now his past couple seasons. I think there might be a couple fits for him. And here's why, right? I think he could possibly go to Philly. And a big reason why is because I feel like their bench is lacking, right? You're bringing Markelle Fultz off the bench, which you know he ain't scoring. So they have no scorer really with that second unit. So maybe you're able to incorporate him in and use his scoring abilities to kind of get things going. But it's not my favorite fit for him. With Jimmy Butler, Embiid, Simmons, these guys are young dogs that are going out there to ball every day, and he's not that run up the floor type person all the time, so I'm not sure how that'll fit out. And then you have the Lakers. Melo and LeBron have been great friends throughout their entire career. We know it. But obviously friendship doesn't work that much with Melo because he went over to Houston because CP3 was one of his best friends. So the only reason the Lakers might be a possible fit, you have Ingram starting right now. His big thing is he struggles scoring the ball consistently. He's can be a lockdown defender when needed. He's a good slasher, things like that. He can put up some points, but maybe you take a little of the pressure off by letting him, go out there and play his game and then bring in Melo for a couple minutes. If he comes in 15 minutes a game, spells Ingram, sometimes even spells LeBron, he might provide a scoring presence that they need. But honestly, if there's a team in the league that I think fits him the best, it's going back to the Knicks. They're young right now. They're going to be in that hunt for Zion most likely. KP doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon, although we've seen some progressions from him. The thing with the Knicks is if he's willing to sign for low money, they're one of the rare teams that still plays iso ball. They don't run up and down the court like they should. And Fizdale was supposed to fix that, right? He hasn't. But if you're going to run that iso ball technique, Melo might be the guy you bring in. He helps out the team a little bit. He helps these guys learn a little more about the game because the Knicks are very young this year. And then, when the year's over, he gets out of there. He retires, and, he's from Baltimore, New York. The Knicks are his favorite team. He retires with them. KP comes back. You hopefully get a good draft pick, draft somebody good. You go and hopefully sign a free agent if Kyrie becomes available, KD, all the things that they suspect they might have a lead on. But it's hard to find an actual fit for his type of game right now.
Yeah, I don't see it. He's older. He's an older player.
For sure.
I don't think he's going to want to go to a team that's in a rebuilding year. He's already made his money. He's going to want to win a championship. So the only championship team out of the three that you just named are either the 76ers, like we mentioned last week, or the Lakers, which the Lakers are very subpar. But we know LeBron, that's not going to hold LeBron forever. I don't see him signing with a team that has a losing record. He's going to want to be on a championship contending team. He's already made his money. I don't see him going anywhere else except for a championship contender.
But do you think that he might be willing to go to a spot like New York, where he has such a background in, with such a history in, just to go over there? He's gonna get his ISO, that he knows that it's part of his game. He goes over there, say he plays well to finish out the season. He retires. He doesn't get his championship, but at least he goes out on a good note. For low money. I mean, he wants to play basketball, clearly. He'd rather do it in the NBA than do it overseas, which might be his only other option. Do you think he'd be willing to do that?
If there's only one team, and like you said, New York, and that's because, like you said, that's his team. Even though his whole career wasn't in New York, it might as well have been.
He might as well. That's where he wanted to be.
He wanted to be in New York. He loved New York. Like you said, New York is his favorite team. New York is the only place that I could realistically see him signing. But if he wants to sign anywhere, it's going to be one of those three teams like you mentioned.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, it's sad to see. I mean, that's one of the best scores we've ever seen in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Definitely throughout our lifetime. And he just hasn't translated to the game well. You know, he's not a rundown, back and forth, 3-and-D type guy. His knees are, kind of shot. He's always been an ISO guy who hasn't played too much defense. And the game's just changed around him. So it really changed up everything, So
yeah.
It's sad to see, but let's get off the sad news. Let's jump into a huge game going on. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Rams. It gets moved from Mexico City to LA because of the fact that Mexico City's field looked horrendous.
It was by far probably the worst field I've ever seen it. I don't know what the NFL was thinking. They had a huge soccer tournament down there.
Yep.
Mexico City itself is one of the most polluted cities in the world. So, granted, they had a game there a couple years ago. I think it was between Oakland and the Patriots.
Yep. That was last year.
It was last year. Okay.
Last year.
Yes, I know the NFL is trying to expand, but planning-wise, I love the idea of them playing overseas, across the borders. Timing should have been a lot better.
It was a bad timing. I mean, I know they wanted to get these two teams together, because from the beginning of the season, you could see that these two teams are going to be what they were, but it was just bad timing. But let's jump into it anyways. Game gets moved to LA. Rams are at home now. Chiefs have to go to LA. Who do you got? Why? What's your big keys?
I got the Rams coming out in a close one.
Okay.
Home field advantage is always tough. No matter what environment it is, you got to give them at least 3 off the bat. Statistically, both of these teams go hand in hand. Between Mahomes and Goff, very similar numbers. Kareem Hunt and Todd Gurley, similar numbers. Both defenses, listen to the statistic. Rams defense is averaging 2.5 sacks a game. Chiefs, 3. Both teams are averaging just over 23 points a game allowed on defense. And both teams have caused 15 turnovers. So, statistically, this is going to be one of the best games. This is probably the best game of the year. One of the best games of the decade. And I've gone as far as here in the game of the century. I don't know if I'd go that far. But this game, for a Monday night game, all eyes on it, it's going to be a huge game. Todd Gurley and the Rams are going to come out on top by a last-second field goal.
I could see it. I mean, I'm going with the Chiefs. I know that they're on the road, but home field advantage doesn't exist in LA at the Coliseum. Teams travel well there. It's LA. I know it's last minute, but people are going to get there. So, I mean, it's one of those things where the factor doesn't go crazy. Remember the Packers a couple weeks were there? Aaron Rodgers after the game saying there was a lot of Packer fans out there. You could hear it throughout the broadcast session. They were talking about it that, Green Bay's on offense and they didn't have to worry about crowd noise. So, you give a guy like Mahomes with his type of weapons no disadvantage to being on the road like that outside of travel. They don't have to go to high altitude anymore. Remember, the Chiefs and the Rams are both planning to go practice out in high altitude to get ready for Mexico City. They're just going on the road to play a good team right now. But why I have the Chiefs winning, the Rams have been suspect lately. All their games have been close. They haven't faced a team with this type of weapons outside of the Saints. I know that was on the road. But when they played the Saints, historic numbers went up on that Saints offense. So you got a team coming in that has all these weapons all over the field. the Rams defense being as suspect as it's been lately. The Rams defense has given up 30-plus points 4 times this year in 6 games within 10 points they've had as a team. High scoring. It's going to be a close game. I got the Chiefs winning by about a touchdown, but it should be fun to watch.
Oh, it's 100% going to be fun to watch. I mean, this game is going to be a shootout. Yeah. I think both offenses are too high-powered. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. I see it coming down to between the 30s and 40s for both teams.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's going to be similar to the past Chiefs game if you think about it. Yeah. The Pats offense was rolling at the time. The Chiefs offense was rolling at the time. He goes down into Foxborough. He puts up 40 points against that Pats defense, which we know is suspect.
Yep.
The Chiefs defense is suspect. Brady goes out there, puts up 43. So it's going to be a similar shootout game where it's going to be till the last drive. Whoever has the ball on the last drive might have a chance to go win that game. And, I mean, either way it goes, one team's going to come out with 2 losses. One's going to be, 9-1, 10-1, whatever it is. But, I mean, you look at Mahomes and what they've done. He has 7 games with 3-plus touchdowns. Another 4 with, included in that. He has 4 of them being 4-plus touchdowns. 1 of them being 6 touchdowns. This guy's going to shred up that defense, especially if Talib's not playing, if Ndamukong Suh's out there at the DN position rather than the D tackle position. Kareem Hunt's going to have a day. Mahomes is going to have a day. And as much as I feel like Kelsey might be the odd man out this week, I feel like Tyreek Hill is going to go off because Peter's an off-coverage guy. They're going to run him short, small stuff. He's going to catch the ball, be in open space, and he's going to get moving.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. Can't include golf in this conversation.
Oh, of course.
Mahomes has 3,150 yards passing. Goff has 3,134.
They're right there.
So, hand in hand, I'm telling you, the difference is going to come down to the running backs. Gurley is averaging nearly 5 yards a carry, when Hunt is only averaging 4.5. Granted, half a yard, but that's a half a yard that could be a huge difference every single carry. Gurley has 13 touchdowns. Hunt has 7. You put both numbers combined, yes, the Chiefs have more, but I'm telling you, it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. And I got the Rams coming. I'm telling you this reason why the home field advantage is going to be in LA. Yes, it's the last second, like you said. I think the LA fan base is starting to realize that not only are the Rams legit, but so are the Chargers. Not throwing the Chargers in the mix here, but the Rams are a legit contender. They got 1 game after this against a team that's above 500. They win today, they could very easily finish 15-1. Excuse me, Monday, correct. They very easily could finish 15-1. And they're going to have the first round bye in the playoffs. And they're going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We already went over last week that New Orleans' schedule is tougher. So they are going to have probably another loss or 2. A win tomorrow night in LA could solidify home field advantage throughout the playoffs for the Rams.
Do you think there's a potential Super Bowl matchup?
Yeah, it very much could be. We went over this last week.
I mean, if I saw these 2 teams in the Super Bowl, scoring's coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that both defenses are struggling. They both have guys who need to come back in order to solidify that their defenses. They'll get better if these guys come back. Justin Houston comes back. Eric Berry comes back. That Chiefs defense is automatically better, right? The Rams, right? You bring Ndamukong Suh back down with Aaron Donald in the middle. You have who'd they pick up? Is it Miles Jack? I mean, not Jack.
Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler out on the edge, right? Nice pass rush guy, and you bring back a guy like Aqib Talib. That defense will get better.
Yeah.
I think the loss of Cooper Kupp is going to be tough for the Rams, though, going forward. No, they don't have a tough schedule, but when they play the Saints in the playoffs, when they play these teams, if they make it to the Super Bowl and have to play at Kansas City and stuff like that, that's a big guy that's part of their offense that now is gone. And I think that's going to be tough. I give it to Sean McVay. You can't doubt that guy with anybody. He's going to make somebody go in there and look pretty good.
Yep.
Just because of the way he calls things and the way Goff is playing lately is unbelievable. But I think that's a big loss because it's not just you're replacing any guy. That was a big part of their offense.
I agree. Like we said, last week we both picked the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
We both picked the Patriots and Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yep.
This very easily could be a Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah.
If both these teams make it to the Super Bowl, I think we could very easily see last year's Super Bowl between the Patriots and Eagles records get smashed because I don't think both offenses are too high-powered.
Yeah.
I think we could see record-setting numbers tomorrow night.
I agree. I mean, it should be fun to watch. And if it comes down to a last-minute drive or a last-minute field goal, geez, buckle up. You guys are going to have a great time.
Yeah, whoever has the ball last is going to win the game.
I agree. Get off the football game. Let's jump on. Last topic of the day, MLB awards. I know you feel strongly about this. Right into the managers. Let's go. Bob Melvin versus Alex Cora. What do you think? They get it right?
No way did they get this right. Alex Cora deserved it. Yes, the Red Sox have the highest payroll. You know what? So I don't
right there. All right, continue.
But you know, at the end of the day, you still need to manage your team to win.
I agree.
108 wins, most in franchise history. Won the World Series.
Doesn't count.
Okay.
Stop your argument right there. Doesn't count.
Okay.
It's a regular season award.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Still, 108.
Okay, 108.
Most wins in franchise history. Most wins in the majors. You still need to manage the team to win. At the end of the day, Cora deserved the award. First year manager. He was a bench coach last year with Houston. Comes in
World Series winning bench coach.
Okay. He did take a lot of stuff from the Houston manager.
Lynch is a pretty good manager. All right, continue.
But at the end of the day, Cora deserved the award. 100 wins in the first year. 108 franchise record. It's ridiculous that he did not win this award.
You done?
I'm done.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Listen, I get it. 108 wins. My guy Alex Cora, straight from Puerto Rico. Love it. Great things. Bob Melvin won 97 games, and I want you to name 4 people on that team.
Next question.
Exactly. He won 97 games, people. 22 more than he did the year before. The only reason they didn't win their division, you know why? Guess what division they're in? They're in there with the Houston Astros, who won 103. They were a top 4 team in the AL. You can barely name half the guys on that team. I'll name a couple for you. Matt Chapman, Chris Davis, Steven Piscotty. Manea got hurt. There was a no-no against the Sox. They look like they're on fire with this guy on the mound. He gets hurt for the entire season. They still win 97 games. So don't get me wrong. Cora had an unbelievable year. But he had JD, Mookie, Benintendi, Chris Sale, David Price, Kimbrel, JVJ, Bogarts had a great year. Steven Pierce comes over, has an unbelievable year. And you're going to tell me that I get you have to manage.
Yeah.
You have to bring a team together, whatever it is. But a team with all that firepower, there were 3 teams in the MLB that won over 100 games this year in the AL.
Yep.
Okay. The next team was the Oakland Athletics with no payroll.
I can understand where you're coming from, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's the wins and losses that matter. I will say, my hat goes off to Bob Melvin. He had a great year. He's going to be a manager. I wouldn't be surprised if something bigger opens up and he's gone after this year. He's proven that he can win with no payroll. So, you still can't beat the fact. First year as a legit coach, not a bench coach, wins 108 games. You cannot take that from him.
I understand that, but he has the highest payroll in the majors with names and studs from everywhere. And then at the trade deadline, don't get me wrong, Dombrowski did a great job by going and picking up Nate Eovaldi, going and picking up Steve Pierce because he knew what they needed. But that team is stacked. If he didn't win over 108 games, what would you consider the season?
No, it would have been a total bust.
All right, then. So, if you and me can go on and coach the Boston Red Sox right now and pull out 95 or 100 wins, you and me go and coach the Oakland Athletics, I don't care who we are, we're not winning 97 games. So, you got to go with the fact that this guy did something unbelievable with a team that you would have never thought was going to be there. Did you expect the Oakland Athletics to win 97 games this year?
Not
to be in the wild card spot.
Not at the beginning of the year, no way.
Almost be at the number one wild card spot. If it wasn't that Houston was in the division, they would have won their division. Mm-hmm. When you just look at things like that, it's unbelievable. And you say wins and losses are the only thing that matter. Clearly, that doesn't matter to the MLB on their awards because Jacob deGrom won his. It's about statistics. It's about what you do. And at the end of the day, deGrom did less with more, and he wins the Cy Young. Bob Melvin should have won this award, and he did correctly. As much as I give Cora his props, this guy brought a team that nobody gave a chance to a one-game playoff. Fine. The only reason they were in that was because of Houston. A one-game playoff, and if they win that game, they move on to the freaking next round, to the second round of the playoffs. Everybody expected Boston to go to the World Series. Nobody expected Oakland to be even in the conversation.
I could totally understand that. But you're also, we'll get off the court for a second. You're also forgetting about Boone. Boone, again, a first-year manager. Wasn't even on a bench last year. Comes in and leads the Yankees to 100-plus wins.
And he wasn't even an AL Manager of the Year candidate.
And that's upset. I'm obviously a Red Sox fan. That's why I'm sticking up for Corey here. I know where you sit on this, but Boone deserves to be in that conversation.
He deserves to be in it, but it's the same thing. You have a guy who won 100 games. Look at his roster.
I will say, how young is that team?
Oh, I agree.
That team is very young.
In order to win 100 games or to be in any type of conversation like that, you need to have guys that come in and step up you didn't expect at the beginning of the year. So David Price, second round on, right? I gave David Price a lot of bad talk because he struggled. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm still going to stick to the same and say he still struggled against the Yankees and figured it out after the Yankees series. Yeah. So who's your daddy, David Price? But let's go on and let's just say, yes, you need people to come on and do things like they did, like Gleyber Torres, Miguel Andujar, Luke Voigt. You need those type of things. But you look at these rosters, Houston, Boston, New York. We'll see what happens right before next season. They're stacked. You expect those three teams to be up there every year going forward as long as their roster stays similar and the progress stays the same with their young guys. Half the people you saw on the Athletics this year are going to be gone next year.
Yep.
And he'll come back and he'll win 80 games still. Which, I mean, I know it's only about a 500 record, but when you don't have anything on your team, it's hard to play nowadays. Everybody's hitting bombs, everybody's striking everybody out, and you're stuck there with a team that struggles with those types of things outside of maybe one guy, Chris Davis.
I feel like what happened in the A's locker room this year was they bought into a system. The chemistry on that team was ridiculous. When you buy into a system, you could have a bunch of 5-year-olds out there. If you can get 5-year-olds that really care and want to play the game and want to win and buy into it, they'll have a chance. And that's what I feel like.
Again, too. Don't say the Red Sox. Don't say the Yankees.
But you know what though? If you buy into the system,
yes,
most championship teams have bought into a system bigger than themselves.
Yes.
The name on the front of the jersey means a lot more than the name on the back.
I agree.
And that's just a quote from the '80 Olympics. Miracle on ice. Nobody thought they would win. They bought into a system against the Russians. Most championship teams, you think back, we bought into a system bigger than us. We believed in each other. We're all family. That's what wins championship teams. So I think that's what happened with the A's. If you can keep that roster the same exact, top to bottom, I think they drop down to a 500 team.
Think so?
I think so.
Could be. I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of those, you got to remember at the trade deadline too, they went and got guys like Jerry's Familia and stuff like that. Guys who are at the end of their contract run, trying to make money, trying to go into free agency with some type of like, hey, we did well, pay me now type of thing. So, those guys went out and performed like they did and got them to a good spot. But it's one of those things where if we're just basing it off of last season, you can't go wrong with either one of these guys.
No.
I mean, I'm not a Sox fan, you know this, but you got to look as a baseball fanatic, and you got to give people their props where it's at. Mookie Betts should have won the AL MVP the same exact way he did. It should have been unanimous, honestly. The way that guy played this year was unbelievable. In this case, I think they got it right with Bob Melvin, but if they would have came and said Alex Cora won, I would have done the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. He deserved it. They both deserved it. There could have been 2 awards, they should have gotten it.
Oh, very much. I agree.
They should have done Cole this year if that's the case, because it was what they've done. One with 108 wins, most in franchise history. Even with the talent, it's still tough to do.
Yeah.
You got to manage the way that they managed their organization this year. They hit a lot of long balls, but they were very good at small ball, which you don't see in the major leagues anymore.
No.
Right? You know why the Yankees struggled in the postseason? Is because if they couldn't hit a home run, they couldn't go first to third like Boston could.
Yeah.
They don't bunt like Boston does. They don't hit and run like Boston does. And that's the difference between a team that goes 3-1 against the Yankees, 4-1 against Houston, and 4-1 against the Dodgers. They know how to play baseball the correct way.
Yeah.
And you only lose 3 games in the postseason.
Against the toughest route you could have taken.
You have the Yankees with 100+ wins, Houston with 100+ wins, and a very good Dodger team over there. So, I mean, it's unbelievable what they did, the way they did it. But it just goes to show you, the MLB is changing to a high home run, high strikeout rate league. Real baseball still wins you games.
Oh, it does.
Real fundamental baseball still beats the home run, strikeout type of team.
And although the playoffs don't count, look what he did in the playoffs. Who would have thought to take Eovaldi out of the pen? Who would have thought to take these starters that are normally, I'm only going to pitch every 5th day, I'm only going to do this and that. Let me go warm up in the pen. I just threw 4 innings yesterday, fine, I'll throw another 4 if I have to today. These guys, the way he did it very similar based on what Houston did last year.
Yeah.
And he even admitted that's where he got the idea from.
AJ Hinch is a great manager. There's no reason for him not to.
And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that going forward year after year after year. To take these guys that you don't normally see coming out the pen, come in and shut down for an inning or 2.
It's the way it should be. You're on this team. You're getting paid. Even if you weren't getting paid, if you're buying into winning a championship like you talked about, you have to buy into whatever your leader, decides to put out there. In that case, Alex Cora got the team to buy into, Nate Eovaldi, you're pitching unbelievable in the postseason and at the end of the stretch for us, but I need you 4 innings out of the pen. And I think it was game 4 against the Dodgers. They ended up losing, or game 3 in LA. They ended up losing off the home run. Nate Eovaldi comes out of the pen and throws 97 pitches before giving up that home run. This guy went starter innings out of the pen because that was what was needed and dominated until that point.
Oh, he pitched a gem that second half. And then even if you look at the 9th inning, game 5, you bring in the most dominant pitcher in the game, Sale. You already got a great closer in Kimball. Yeah. Kimball's was a little shaky, but you put in Sale.
And he pitched well
he did
in the World Series compared to other closers.
But you know what, though? You got 1 inning on that roster. Who you going to? Honest opinion.
If I was in the same spot, game 5, I'm looking to close out, I'm going to Chris Sale. I have Kimball ready.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case. But I have Chris Sale going out there. The same way, the Dodgers tried it with Kershaw because he's their best. The Giants did it with Bumgarner a couple of times because he's their best.
Yep.
When the Mets were in the World Series, they did it with DeGrom and stuff because if you're in that situation, you want your best guy out there. You expect them to get you 3 outs.
Yep.
And it's that simple. But great award ceremony this year. Great season of MLB baseball. Want to thank everybody for watching again. This is week 2. We continue going forward. We are off next week for the holidays. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your day. Spend some time with family. Be safe if you're going Black Friday shopping.
Yeah, like Will said, have a great Thanksgiving. Next week, where are we going, Will?
We're going to New York. We'll be at the Pats-Jets game. So we might throw out a video just kind of from the tailgate. Say hello to everybody. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and stuff. So that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Well,
okay.
Everybody have a great day.
See you guys.